All right, for this lesson, we're going to start and we're going to look at part configuration. So go ahead and open the ratchet body file. So what configurations is going to allow us to do is save different versions of this same part, either longer, shorter, different diameter and stuff, but it's basically the same style of part. And then we're able to keep it in um, the same file so we know where it is. Both parts and assemblies can have configurations. Drawings or the sketches themselves do not. All right, so let's take a look up here above the feature tree. If you look at this kind of stem with these two pods, if you go ahead and click on there, that's our configuration manager. And right now it's just got a default and it shows what's drawn on the screen. But as we add different configurations, whether we shorten or lengthen or whatever we're going to do this part, we're going to keep track of that here. So to get us back to where we started, if we click this little Lego block up here, that brings us back to our original feature tree and we can start making changes. So sometimes when we're working with configurations, I need to see this feature tree and I would like to keep track of my configurations here. And so we've got this top bar with this little dot, and SolidWorks calls it a splitter bar. And if I come up here and I left click and I just drag this down underneath my feature tree, what it does is it kind of creates another feature or another box, and now I can open up my configuration manager and keep that down here. I can still adjust the size of my windows as needed, but now I can keep both open and it helps me organize things a little bit better when I'm doing configurations. So to create our first configuration, if we go here in our configuration manager and I go to my ratchet body configuration and I right click, my first option here is add configuration, and I will. And it wants us to name it. And this first one we're going to name forged, comma, long. If I want to, I can add a description to it. We could add a bill of materials, something we'll talk more about later. But for right now, we're just going to click the green check mark, OK. And now it is added this new configuration in my configuration manager. So the green check mark shows me that this specific configuration is the active one. And it means that now I can start making changes to this and it's going to be associated with this active configuration. So one thing that we're going to look at in this chapter is the suppress feature. And basically what this option does is we're able to suppress or hide other features, and SolidWorks treats as if they're ghosted, or if we didn't like we never created them in the first place, but they are still there. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to click on recess, and I look at my parent-child relationship. And remember, if you don't see this, you can go up here on this top level ratchet body, and I can right click, and it's these two that show the parent and the child relationship. You can activate those if they're not. And so when we suppress something, if I want to suppress, so I'm clicked on recess, and it shows me what that recess is. And it shows me the pocket is dependent on that recess, as is the ratchet hole. So when we suppress something, it will also suppress the child features of that feature as well. And so if I right click on recess and I've got a suppress option here with this down arrow, and I click on it. So not only did it suppress that, it basically hid that recess, but it also suppressed those three dependent features. And now I've got a solid ratchet head there. And so now this looks like a forged blank that we've not done any machining to, but now that this would be what we would get to produce a part. So the other way I could have suppressed that, I'm going to leave this suppressed, but if I came over here to the recess and I right clicked on this and I come down to feature properties, it's going to have a little pop-up window. It's going to have the name of the feature, the description if there is one, and then I've got right here, is it suppressed or unsuppressed? So I could manipulate that there as well. Again, just another way to do it. So to change between configurations, if I come into my configuration manager and I just I pick the one I want and I double click on it, now you can see it came back to the original that we started with the head of that machine. So now that I have two configurations, and again, I can go back and forth between those two. I can also rename these, as you saw how we named that configuration. Because this is our machine, this is our finished product. I can rename this one as well, but SolidWorks doesn't like us to change the default because it uses that to link to other files, especially if we were using this in assembly. So what we want to do is I can either come up here, this is the active, and then I can come up here to file, and I can not file, edit, and I can I need to highlight that again. I can do an edit and then I can copy it, or I can just do highlight that and I can do a Control C, and then that's copied. And I'm just gonna kind of click here, and then I can go back up to edit and paste it, or I can do a Control V as in Victor. Let me try that again. It didn't paste, so I'm just going to highlight the default. I'm going to do a Control C. Just come over here and click, and then Control V. There we go. Copy the default. Now we can go and I'm able to change this, rename tree item, and we're going to call this one machined, long. Okay, so now we've got three in here, three configurations right now. We have our default, what we started with. We have our forge, the one that we manipulated and suppressed those features. It looks like that. And then we've got our copy of the default that we can do whatever we want with as well. I'm going to stop this video here, and we will finish this lesson up with one more video.